I'm Serafina. Follow me on my journey as I get outside and go exploring. You can follow along on my blog at serafinahikes.com and on Instagram. Links are in the description below. Skyline Drive in Corona is one of the most popular hikes in the area. It's a well-maintained, flat, wide fire road that heads up to the ridge in the Santa Ana Mountains. Today I would be hiking to Beeks Place from Skyline Drive. There are many trails to choose from when hiking in the Santa Ana Mountains that lead to the ridge. There are several much more narrow single-track trails that also lead up to the ridge, and some of these trails are rutted and narrow, being popular with mountain bikers. Some of them are very steep, but the fire road you can expect is fairly straightforward and gradual the entire way, which is great for all levels of hikers. It's about 5 miles to the ridge, and just about over another mile to Beeks Place. You can also take this trail to Sierra Peak to the north of here, and you can also take this trail past Beeks Place on further to Pleasance Peak. There's actually a series of 3 flags that you can hike to along Skyline Drive. The first flag is about a half a mile up the trail, the second flag is about 3 miles up, and the third flag is about 4.5. In 1927, Joseph A. Beeks purchased his homestead from the Southern Pacific Land Company. It's almost a full square mile wide, the entire property. So this is the way to Sierra Peak over here, Main Divide Road, and this is the way to Beeks Place. Joe was born in Orrington, Maine, December 16, 1880. He came to California by way of New Mexico. He worked to support his family, growing up very poor, but he had a very optimistic outlook on life. He spent some of his time living in Colorado, along with working for the Reclamation Service in Arizona, as well as New Mexico before coming to California. He was an operator of a rural electric power plant. These experiences would help him later in devising his wind-powered turbines, which would power his homestead atop the ridge in the Saddleback Mountains. In 1910, he attended Throop Polytechnic Institute, also known as Caltech, majoring in electrical engineering. Joseph Allen Beek became Secretary of the California State Senate and held that office for 50 years. Until his death in 1968, according to SantaAnaMountains.org. Both Black Star Canyon and Skyline Drive roads were well maintained from the 1920s until the 1960s. This enabled Joseph and his wife to easily access their cabin for working on it whenever they had free time, and it would become their retreat. Joseph Beeks first built his iconic homestead in the Saddleback Mountains as a hobby project for a retreat. Both Black Star Canyon and Skyline Drive were popular maintained roads into the mountains in the 1920s. The homestead was built on a budget with discarded materials, mostly by family and friends. He used what he had and was available nearby as resources. His water to the cabin was from a spring down in the valley at Tin Mine Canyon. The cement cistern he built there to hold the water deep in the canyon still stands. The water pump was initially powered by a 1-gallon gas generator. The lighting to the cabin was at first a single Coleman lantern. One thing he could count on, though, was a steady stream of wind across the ridge. So he devised a series of wind turbines to power at first a 6-volt generator, which finally grew into a 32-volt array powering his entire cabin with the power stored in Edison batteries. A remnant of this power station, a series of monolithic steel structures, in part still stand on the ridge here at Beeks Place. Joseph Beeks planted a large number of pine trees around his homestead that are still standing today.